Hello, my name is Roland Waits, and the name of this video is, so what is F1 now anyway? The last video I posted about F1, I called Mercedes a whole lot of names that surprised me. I'm just angry, man. I'm just tired of this game that we're getting played on us about this, because what Mercedes has done here is not representative of a racing series. What it's representative of is coordinated, organized, consensual race rigging from management. And I really want to apologize to the workers at Mercedes. I wasn't saying that to you. I was saying that to the people in upper management. My negative comments are always directed at upper management. The people who work at Mercedes bust their butts and they fight against management to keep their jobs, to keep the quality in their products. Unfortunately, with the bean counters that are at Mercedes and other German firms and other auto firms, there's always a bean counter who's going to cut a product out or change the quality of it, and you're going to have to fight against that too. So let's get that out of the way. But what I want to cover in this video is, what is Formula One anyway? I mean, look, we all know about Bernie Ecclestone. You know, well, Bernie is a genius. There's no other way to say it. He is a genius. I mean, he took this little podunk racing series and he built it into a multi-billions of dollars juggernaut. And along the way, he centralized all the cars that race in this series in England. Now, you got Ferrari. That's the first thing you'll pop out, and you say, well, what about Ferrari? Well, yeah, Ferrari, but I think that 90% of the merchandising rights for Ferrari is owned by Formula One. So, and also, if you'll notice in the pay scale for F1 teams, Ferrari makes the most money of any team in Formula One, and that's so that they can pay for the facilities they have to stay in the chain, this Bernie Ecclestone chain of companies. If you look at every manufacturer that's running in Formula One, every one of them has large investments and large bases in England. So essentially what you're buying, what you're looking at is an English product. When you look at the Mercedes, you might be looking at a Honda, because this is the history of the Mercedes team. Two videos, this is by WTF1. These are two great videos. How much does an F1 car cost? And the unusual history of F1 teams, by a person calling himself WTF1. Recommend you see them. Very entertaining, very informative. Well, Terrell was this team up till, started in 71 to 99. BAR took it over. Honda was in this situation here, and then in 2009, Ross Brawn came in, and they said, I think it said £5, bought the team for £5, which is essentially like $7 US. $7 US. And then that year that he bought it, they put the name Mercedes on it. You know, it was Braun GP, okay, but they were running supposedly Mercedes engines. And then 1 year later, Mercedes comes in and supposedly buys the team. Well, how do we know that? I mean, if this little operation here was really something to watch. I mean, I watched Nick Fry was running the team. I think it was Nick Fry. And up to this point right here, it looked like he was trying to drive Honda out of F1, the way that team was run. But he wanted Honda to keep putting money in and putting money in and putting money in. And in the history of in the Wikipedia history of this little operation here, Um, right in 2008, Honda was developing a KERS system. And we know what that is now. You know, the energy recovery system. So it was clear that this hybrid era was coming. Okay? Now, I said this in a video a long time ago. I said Bernie hates Honda's guts because Honda refuses to pay Bernie a tribute fee. And if you're going to win in Formula One, back when Bernie was running Formula One, you had to pay Bernie a tribute fee. And we're talking hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Okay? And it went directly into the Formula One budget in his account, and then you got to play whatever you wanted to play. But everybody had to wait in line. You know, this is how Red Bull became their little happy little operation. And this was another reason I want to bring this video up, because I got a very well detailed negative email, and I love the negative emails because that's how you learn. That's how you, and I like the good ones too, don't get me wrong, but the negative ones are very instrumental, and I hate that YouTube makes me, you have to clear this, you have to, no, just open the daggone comments section. If I didn't want the comments, I'd put no comments, you know. But anyway, this person was talking, well, what about the Ferraris? What about the Red Bulls? What about, you don't want them to be invested? I said, you know, I'd never replied to that yet. I might still, but my point was, hell yeah. But if you look at the people who run those teams, they're all members of Bernie Ecclestone's inner circle. They are. They've been in the series for decades. This Russ Braun thing, that was real cute because Honda got so demoralized that they were pumping so much money into this thing and nothing was happening. I mean, consistently that car was garbage. Consistently. And it was intentionally garbage because guess what happened? They sold the team. And what I'm telling you now is the machining and everything was done. That car was ready to be a world championship car. And then Ross Braun came in and bought it for £5. The next year, they won run both world championships, the constructor and the drivers' championships. Isn't that amazing? Ross Braun is like floating Jesus. He came into a team that couldn't, you know, make mid-pack, and the next year, suddenly everything is a world champion team. And 1 year after that, Mercedes comes in, and they bought the license to the team. Well, what I'm saying is, what it looks like in this whole little operation is all the way through here. All the way through here. The same shops in England were building the motors and the cars. So essentially all you're doing is you're putting a name on an English race car. I mean, that's all you're doing. You're putting a name on an English race car. And they talk about, oh, the motors are coming in. I don't believe it. My belief is that they send, if they do anything, they send blueprints to these English shops and they build the engines there. I mean, and now the way it is, hell, how many engines you need a year? 4? 5? I mean, hell, you can go down the street here and have a shop build you 10 engines, you know. And I understand they're complicated, and I understand they're expensive, but the expense comes around the license, the Formula One linkage. Linkage to every one of these businesses. Formula One makes money out of every business. And you know what? God bless you, Bernie. You set this sucker up. But when I'm looking at a Mercedes and I'm hearing talk about the new Hondas coming out and the new this and the new that, and I saw Aston Martin was running a Honda, and I'm like, this is meaningless. This is completely meaningless. All this is one English car beating another English car beating another English car. And so what you get into is, well, does it really mean anything? I mean, does the 6 years that Mercedes has been beating everybody mean anything, because it's not a Mercedes anyway? It's just another English race car. And listen, I don't hate the English. I think the McLaren street car is one of the finest things that's ever come out of Formula One. The fact that McLaren was able to build that car, and that car changed the world, dude. That car changed the world, continues to change the world. Because it put out a supercar that would not kill you at a price that was not ridiculous. And the car is actually, from what I hear, is fairly reliable. So that's impressive. What's not impressive is when you got all these manufacturers in England that are essentially building the same damn car. And the engine is essentially the same damn engine. If you look in the specs, they're all essentially the same damn engine. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is that somebody's chosen to win. That's the difference. You know, they had this all set up. Bernie was really smart about this. He got Honda to bite again, and Honda's in the sport again, but he got Honda to bite again and dump a bunch of money into this team. And I think it was Nick Fry was running the team, and he ran it right into the ground. And they left because they were so pissed off. And the reason online is that, well, the world economy trashed. And Russ Brown comes in, buys it for £5, and the next year they win the world championship. With what the Mercedes, they said it was Mercedes. I don't believe it. I think it was a car they had built. It was an engine they had built that they would have put the Honda name on. And they just said, well, okay, now it's a Mercedes. And the same thing with this hybrid thing. They were doing, Honda was paying for the KERS systems development way back in 2008, probably before then. So they probably took a Honda KERS thing. It would have been, here you go. KERS, engine, hey, this is a Honda racing engine. Honda's not sending the checks anymore. Hey, this is a Mercedes race engine. So, I have no hate for the drivers or the people the guys who do the pit work, or but when you when you sell a product and you make it sound like, ooh, we've got all these manufacturers in here and it's all one big competition, and everybody gets their car built in England, and everybody gets their cars built in shops that are 30 miles away from each other, and you get this little history going on here. This was amazing. You should have watched this little operation here when they completely built Honda powered car. I mean, it could have been Honda powered cars, or it could have been, English powered race cars with the Honda name on it, and they just take the money from Honda. I mean, by this way, hell, Kia should get into it, and Kia should pay Mercedes, and go, well, now it's a Kia F1 car. So what is F1 now anyway? Only entertainment. It's not a racing series. It's an advertising venue. I'm just glad that the drivers don't get hurt anymore, and I'm glad they put the halo on there. And if you the halo, we know about Jules Bianchi, but Maria Della Voda, I'm not going to get her name right, and I apologize. Maria Della Voda had a horrendous brain injury from a display. She was out on a press thing in a car. She ran under a trailer. If you ever get to see her x-rays of her brain, you'll understand why that halo's in there. Halo is good. Halo is good. And America, IndyCar needs to copy that. They really do need to copy something like that, because if they don't, the little piece of crap they got a little shark fin. It's like this, you know. And what is it? What is it? The deflector, right? To deflect the damn debris right into the driver's face. So anyway, that was just a little bit of something I wanted to touch on here. That I'm glad that halo's there. But this whole thing here, I'm just telling you, I took it way too serious in my last video because I care about the series as far as the history of it. And maybe I bit the bullet too freaking hard. Because let's face it, Ayrton Senna was a dangerous driver who put his car into the side of other drivers and said, look, wreck me out or move. And he did it several times. But he was thrilling to watch. And, you know, all along the way, that little operation got, Michael Schumacher copied that, and other racers have copied that, but I don't even know if, this series is worth watching anymore. And like I said, like everybody else says, well, bye, Roland. Nobody's going to miss you. And that's true. I mean, I'm the guy on the internet with the mask on, so. But anyway, I just thought I'd tell you this little operation, because it's hilarious. If you look at this and you go, well, you almost would imagine you could go over to the Mercedes car and you pull it off and there's Honda underneath it, and you pull it off and there's something else underneath that, you know. So, anyway, have a good one.